Hello, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. You are listening to the goingboldmedia.com, where all the experts are going bold, and we are so happy to be able to have you with us here today. We are on the Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am just one of your hosts here. I am Cece Shatz, a Doyenne of relationship building, and I have my good friend with me, Joanne Weilain. Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Joanne Weiland, when you can fly is how it's pronounced. And I am the founder of Link to Expert. And we'll be talking about collaboration today. And I'm really excited because I think that's my favorite subject. So thanks, Cece, for being willing to, the two of us, to take this time to really dive deeper into collaboration.
Yeah, I think we should do that because conversation and collaboration is not a one-way street. And so often, I think when we're talking with someone, have you ever been in a conversation where you think you're having a conversation with someone, but all you're doing is listening?
Yes, or have you ever unfortunately been the opposite that you seem to be dominating the conversation and all of a sudden you catch yourself and you think, whoa, I better stop and ask questions and listen. And I always remember way back, I heard that God gave us two ears and one mouth so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So we've all been guilty of it, but there's some people I don't think that ever heard that saying. So maybe it's best we're sharing it today.
I know. I mean, we just had a conversation not too long ago, I think that where we were told to be quiet so they could keep talking. It was like, is this a conversation or are we on some sort of like someone is a speaker or something like that? So I think that's important because there's a reason that we have a conversation with someone. And it's not just to learn, right? Because that's why we have a conversation with them, is we want to learn maybe about what they're doing, saying, whatever the subject is. But we also want to share a little bit about ourselves, knowledge base, whatever that is. But the real reason is we want to have that connection, right? And the same thing with collaboration. We want to make that connection with someone. And if we are the one that's always talking, and I know I have the gift for gab, so I am, I'm the world's worst anyhow. But if we are the one always talking, or if we are the one always listening, we're not going down a two-way street. We're actually just going down a one-way street where eventually someone's going to tune you out. They're going to stop listening to you, or God forbid, they're going to not be interested in you at all, and just decide, you know what, not my cup of tea, and move on. And so I think we have to be very aware of conversations. Oh, somebody's calling me. No one ever calls me unless we're on a show. Sorry about that, guys. I usually turn my phone on silent. So somebody wants to have a conversation with me.
That's right. They were saying, "Oh, Cece, I'm ready to have a conversation with you right now." And I
Yeah.
think you're absolutely right, though. I really feel like we have to be so conscious of doing a true conversation, which is a two-way street. And I really do believe it is important because of the fact that if we don't know about the other person, we can't, if you will, connect the dots to see how we could possibly work together, collaborate, whatever you want to call it, help each other, assist each other, and if nothing else, suggest that somebody they talk to that would be able to help them. I mean, I know I'm always been told I'm a connector, and that's just how my mind goes when I talk to somebody. I feel like, oh wow, Cece, you really got to get to know Larry, and Larry can do this for you after I hear what you're saying that you're interested in. So I really do feel like it really is a two-way street, and it's beneficial on both sides when you really do it as a two-way street. And if you don't do that, like you said, they'll go back and from their meeting with you or whatever, and they're not going to even understand what you do that if you're not talking. And if you talk too much, they're going to think, oh my goodness, I don't know if I want to work or talk with this woman again. She's driving me insane, or this man, he's driving me nuts. So it really is kind of a delicate balance, don't you think?
Hmm. Well, it's also, I think you need especially if we're talking about business, you need to still have that sizzle, right? And so if you
Right.
give everything all at one time, you're not going to have that sizzle anymore. So you've got to keep that interest going, that type of thing. The other thing I find is that I have noticed, and I'm like that, and I think a lot of other people that are creative, their minds are going all the time, right? So when someone's talking to me, my mind is also going, and there might be something that I have realized that I want to interject, at that point or whatever. And for me to sit there and then have to talk to someone for like 20 minutes while they're talking, by the time I'm around to where I can actually gracefully come in, I've forgotten what that thought was that I wanted to share with them, that it's like, so it's like you have to really, it's like a dance, conversation is a bit of a dance. And so you might want to take the lead with it, which is okay, but you still also have to take a pause every now and then to give the person the opportunity to maybe interject so you can learn something along the way, right? So that's
Right.
my thought.
It's true. And sometimes, though, I find myself included years ago, especially, I'm much better now, but don't just listen to wait for their little pause and then quick interject either, because I think that is rude, but yet sometimes you feel like you have to because otherwise you're never going to get a word in edgewise, especially if you already agreed. Because a lot of times when I do call someone, I ask them if they have 10 minutes, just as an example. And then I do my best to honor that, what we need to talk about is in 10 minutes. And, or ask them, when is a good time for us to talk for 10 minutes? Because I also feel like that's part of the courtesy too, making sure that they really do have time to talk. Because a lot of times, like when people call me, they, just start talking, where I do try to ask first off, whether I'm meeting them at a meeting or on the phone or wherever, do you have time is this a good time to talk? And I feel like that is a good habit to get into because it's not always a good time to talk. I know when people call me often, I'm in the middle of a project and they say, "Are you busy?" I say, "Well, I'm always busy. I create my busyness, working on different projects, but that doesn't mean I can't pause now. Or if I can't, that I was on a roll, like you said, you're creative and your mind's going and you're wanting to
Mhm.
complete that particular project or task. You can just tell them no, but I'll call you back as soon as I finish guessing in an hour. So I feel like a lot of it is also just not just being courteous, but just being upfront. Because if they're not in the mood to talk to you, you're not going to be able to create some type of collaboration that you can work together because they're still thinking about what they were doing or been wanting to do or whatever it is. So I do feel like sometimes we also have to just ask, is this a good time to talk?
Yeah, that's a great thing to say, because I've had that happen too, where people have mentioned to me, is it okay if we talk? We've got we have Donna here. Hey, Donna. And she said, a great topic to explore. The balance of listening and speaking is really a dance between between the two. Okay. How wonderful when there is harmony and balance in a conversation. That is so true. Thank you,
Yes.
Donna, for
Thank you,
commenting.
Donna.
Yeah, she's a wonderful coach, Donna McGrath. So definitely look her up. So she's a great lady. Well, I'm so glad that she's listening, and I do appreciate that. And I agree with that. So and I think you were spot on with being courteous and asking, hey, do you have a moment? Is this a good moment for you? Can we go ahead and talk about whatever? And the other thing is, if you are, if you're talking about business, right? If you're, I know a lot of times the girlfriends, we get together and we start on one subject, and by the end of the conversation, we're on 500,000 different subjects, which is fine. But when we're in business, we have to make sure that we stay and honor what it is that we're talking about and give it the appropriate amount of time, not to exceed that time. Because I think sometimes we, especially if we're in sales, like, right? And if you're in sales, you don't want to overwhelm someone with just trying to sell them. You want it to be, a conversation that you're having regarding this, so that you can maybe light the fire, so to speak, or give them the idea, right?
Exactly. No, I agree. And I just thought of something else. Even prior to asking if they have the 10 minutes, many times, especially my first conversation with them, they just say I met them at a meeting or something. I'll call and ask, how do I get on your calendar? Because sometimes, or I'll send them a LinkedIn message or I'll send them an email. But most of the time, it's easier I find if I call them and just ask how I can get on their calendar. And sometimes will say, we can talk now. But I feel like if they already have that scheduled, and when that they know you're calling at 2 o'clock on Thursday, just as an example, it, it helps them know that was part of the plan versus when you do just call out of the blue and start talking. So I really feel like if you can schedule a conversation with them, it really helps them stay on track and focused on, because you also, when you're asking for to get on their schedule, and then you tell them what you want to discuss. Like, I just met you at this Women in Tourism meeting. I think it would be incredible if you would be a guest on our podcast because I heard what you had to offer, and we really could use an expert like you to, on the show as an example. So they know not just that I want to talk to them on Thursday at 2 o'clock, but I also want to talk to them about this so they can even think about it ahead of time and kind of, if you will, prepare, just like you should prepare before you call them and know about them so that you don't have to. I don't know about you, but when people call me and they say, well, I don't really know, I didn't, take any time to look anything up about you. I do my best to actually on my schedule when I have a call, just say like we said at 2 o'clock, I put it on my calendar for 1:30. And so at 1:30, I start looking up things about that person that I feel like would be relevant to our conversation. So I don't have to say, well, what do you do? How do you do that? Why do you do that? Not that you can't ask more of those questions. I don't mean that. I mean, but it looks like you really did care enough to do some research about them, and you really should do that anyway to know if you're a good fit to
Yeah.
talk to have that conversation.
I wanted to interject too about that being on someone's calendar, right? So I get that a lot where they'll say, okay, here's my link to my scheduler, right? And schedule time with me. Now, a lot of these are, I'm talking to a lot of coaches and things like that. And so a lot of them are, they're coaching half an hour or whatever. So try to, when you are, just a tip, when you're scheduling, when you're putting that in your information, just schedule like, maybe a 15-minute, you know, blank call, with someone. So this way you're not having to that person is not having to fill out this great big list of information about themselves in order to be able to talk to you for just a short period of time. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I was on just today. I was scheduled. The lady said, just go ahead and put yourself on my calendar. And because we send a message back and forth, she said, just here's my link. Go ahead and schedule the time. So I did that. And it was this huge questionnaire that I had to fill out. I even had to give my birth date. I mean, and it was like, all the dots. I looked in there and thought, okay, well, I won't bother. So no, it were all dotted. So I had to fill out all this information. I had to put my birth date down, for goodness sakes, just to have a conversation with her. So that's rude. I mean, so really, if you have that scheduler type, just take a 15-minute spot, just a blank conversation, make the questionnaire, who the person is, what, maybe a little blank thing, what your topic, what you're going to talk about, and let it be. But to make someone fill out so much stuff about themselves personally, just so that you can talk to that person, I almost didn't do it. I mean, I came so close to not doing it, but I thought, if she really wants to know what my birthday is, I do expect a phone call next year.
Right, because you just had a birthday. So no, I see what you mean, and I feel like maybe that would be okay if they weren't all required fields. Like you said, they were all the required fields, like the birthday. And I also think that sometimes what I find is when I even do those, did you ever notice that when you actually call, they never even look at
Then we look at
what
it.
you filled out. And so I just feel like it is a courtesy if they ask you to do that, that they should have the courtesy to have reviewed it beforehand if you spend the time to do that. Because really it can take time. And I know, just for an example, with our show, we do have an application that takes about 5 or 10 minutes to fill out, but we do need to know this information, and we use this information for promotional material, for show notes, to discuss what we would like to discuss on the podcast, radio, TV show here. So it's not like there's not a time and place to get more information about somebody. So if you are on somebody's show like ours, it really does help the show hosts to know more about you. And in all fairness, sometimes we need to know if you're the right fit. And if we find you're not, you know, we can just politely call you and say, too, this show's about authors, just as an example, on our Links Expert Goodreads Authors Corner. And if they never wrote a book, they wouldn't be a good guest for us, just as an example. So, I do feel like there is a time and place for it. But if somebody asked you to do all that, they should have the courtesy to at least have reviewed it.
Yeah, and make it relevant. That's what I'm saying. It's like make
Yes.
it relevant to what it is that you're doing. Now, so that brings me into collaboration, right? That makes me think about that when we're talking about our application, because our application, you can say either you want to go on the business showcase, or you want to be, or you're an author, or both. Maybe you're interested in being at some time on both of our platforms. And because we do have listeners from different platforms, some listen to both, some listen to just business, whatever, or just authors. So the reality is we take that information and we use it again, like you said, in our show notes, because we are collaborating with the individual. We want to make sure that we have all of the information that we can share out there to be able to help them. Right.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, and we're just talking about us. Okay, so we're going to be selfish, very selfish in this point of view, but we're talking about us. So in our show notes, right, we put all of the information, and I love to be able to have it in your written form, because I can copy and paste that way. There's no mistake on me spelling it wrong, or the links being wrong, or whatever like that. And so when we're doing that, we're giving out all this wonderful information about you, right, in the show notes. And
Mm-hmm.
so then you don't share the information, right? So when we have because we go through great lengths, we're on 50 some platforms. We go through great lengths. Anyone that's on our show, and I hope if you are listening and you want to be on a show, we'd love to have you. We'd absolutely love to have you. But we go to tremendous lengths to make sure that we promote you. We get your information out there, that you're seen, you're heard, you're shown. People understand what you're all about. And then you don't share it. And that's what is shocking to me, is like, if you've got a website, smack that baby on there. Get that information on there. Make sure people know that you were on a syndicated show, which is on, Roku, Amazon TV, Apple TV, a bunch of other, I just posted, we're on Stream TV. We're on a bunch of other places, right? Stick that on your website. Get that link up there so people know that you're there. Not only is it helping you, it's edifying you, but it's also helping us, right? Because that's what collaboration is all about. And so many people miss that. They miss that opportunity to be able to share with people that they're on this tremendous syndication platform that, so let's talk about collaboration, because I think people really do need to know that, right?
I think so too. And I think after the break, we should also even talk more about syndication. I think, we don't realize it, but some people might not understand what syndication even means. And I think that goes right in line with collaboration, meaning that you can, do something once and it, blossoms into so many other avenues. So I do agree with you, Cece. So after the break, let's dive into that.
Let's talk about that, definitely, because I really do feel that would help people to understand more, like what we're doing, what we're about. Why do we do what we do? So we'd like to be able to share that with you. So you guys, just so that you're listening to Link to Link to Expert Business Showcase. And those of you, please check out Joanne's website. It's linktoexpert.com. It's a multimedia collaboration, cloud community. I mean, I just can't say enough about it. There's tremendous things about that. And we'll talk about that too on the second part of our show, all the different things that you can do. And what we do, we use Link to Expert to be able to, share all of our information with the world, so to speak. So, all right, we're going to be right back. So you guys are listening to goingboldmedia.com. Be sure to check that out. All of our wonderful hosts and guests are on there, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory, and you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact goingsolodirectory.com.
Welcome back to Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building, and I have Joanne Weilain here, who is the founder of the collaborative cloud community, linktoexpert.com. The first part of the show, if you missed it, you got to go back and listen, because we talked about conversations, how they need to be a two-way street, right? What we really do want is to be able to learn from the other person and really feel that connection. And so this part of the show, we're going to talk about collaboration. We're going to talk a little bit more about syndication, what we do here on our Business Showcase show. So you want to kick that off, Joanne?
Well, I find that sometimes when I tell people we syndicate the shows, they don't really understand that. And Cece, since you're the expert, in my opinion, of the radio, TV, podcast syndication, I think it would be best if you would give us a better description than I probably could.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. What I found over the years is that so often, you'll have a podcast, right? Our show's a podcast too. We're actually a TV station, which is why you see us, in person like this, a live TV station. And so what I found over the years is that, just to have it on one place, it was hard because people they go to various different places, right? The internet is so vast now. They go to various different places and they watch. Just like you have ABC, NBC, all of those kind of things. They're a syndicated type of show, which means they basically have put the one show out on a lot of different platforms so that you can see it. So that's what we've done here. So you're on a variety of TV stations, you're on a variety of podcast network, podcast platforms, because we take each one of these shows, we drop it down into the audio, and then we send it out to the podcast. And then we also play it on our live streaming radio station. Live streaming means right now present, it is live and it's streaming, right? Live, that's what live streaming, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're live there in person doing it. It just means it's live streaming. So you're hearing exactly what's being played at that particular time. You're hearing a lot of this live. I mean, believe it or not, a lot of our radio stations now are live streaming. You'll hear someone talking and they'll talk about various different things, but they're actually just streaming the show. They've pre-recorded it and it's now then going out. We do a lot of actual live streaming, which we actually, like right now present, we're on air at this very moment. But then it will go off into the streaming and it goes into that. So we're syndicated. We're in tremendous amount. I mean, I know we're probably over 58 platforms now, which is why it's called syndication, is that it goes out to numerous different platforms so that we have. And just on Roku alone, Roku and Amazon TV, last week I checked it, we were at 5.8 million listeners. And that doesn't count, YouTube or any of the podcast platforms. We're on iHeart. We don't even get numbers for iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify. We're on, a lot of the major podcast platforms. So we're sent out to all of those. So it's very, very important that, as we said before, not only are we sharing your information, not only we have the information in our show notes accurately, because we put all of our show notes right up, so it goes right up on there so people can see it. And but you should be sharing it along your information too. So if you're a guest here on the show, we have a package, right, that we actually sell, because things cost us, believe it or not, things cost us money. And so we have to, recoup it somehow, but we keep our costs, at a minimum, as I'm seeing a lot of other stations are charging a whole lot more. But we have a press release that can go out, and you can contest to that. It goes out to, hundreds of thousands of people, news wires and all of this, that we send a press release out. Now that's a particular package. If you want it, we can do that for you. But you need to also be sharing it to your people on all your social media, put it on your websites, various different things that you can do. And because this is the business showcase, we want you to showcase your business, right? We want you to be edified and shown that you are, an expert in your field. So here, if you're on, I'm highly, and I think, I hate to say, I would love to say it, that we are successful, but a highly successful syndicated show. You want to share that with everyone you can think of. Anybody that would listen, you want to share it with, right?
Well, and I think the other point that a lot of people don't understand when we say, like you just said, the stats are 5.8 million, I think they think that you have a chance to be in front of 5.8 million. I'd like to clarify that I understand that it is actually 5.8 million already have watched some of your shows, some of the podcasts, listen to some of the radio, but it's, in this case, it's at just Roku. So they actually watched 5.8 million people, easy for me to say, have actually watched some of your shows and stayed on for the average of 4 hours. So I wanted to clarify that too, because some people, when they try to promote you to come on their show, they state who you could be in front of. Cece's actually stating who's already watched her shows, because she has multiple shows, not just these two shows. She's amazing. But does that make sense, Cece? Am I correct?
And that is an excellent point to say, is that is who has watched it. But the beauty of that, it's evergreen, right? We try to keep our shows as evergreen as possible, because they're all really terrific informational type of shows. All of our talk shows are really shows that can, and we put our banner out, changing lives one talk show at a time. And so our shows, we try to keep them kind of evergreen, meaning that they can be used, years down the road if they want to. So once it gets out there in the world of internet, right? Once it gets out there on the stations, we don't take things down. And the other thing is, we don't charge people to watch them. You're seeing a lot of shows, a lot of stations that are coming up now. I was just looking at one not too long ago here today, a great station, but they are charging people to watch. We're not charging anyone to watch our shows. You can go and watch our shows. You can download our shows. You can do all of that. We want to have the information accessible to you. So what we try to do is we capture, and how we make, and everybody said, well, how on earth are you making your money? Well, we make our money the other way. We get advertisers. If you want to advertise, we would love to have you here. We also, everyone contributes to our station. Everyone that's on the station contributes. And so they all give us something back in order to be able to be on the station. So whether it be maybe, money, a small amount of money, or maybe they do something to help promote our station, or they do different things to be able to help us, that's how we get it. So it's all collaboration type of thing. It's not like you don't see, you're going out there, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars in order to be a host on our show. It doesn't cost you thousands of dollars to be on. You want to be a host? You come to me, you'll be a host. I mean, we'll make it work. We'll figure it out, right? There's some sort of bartering in place, or there's some sort of, maybe some monies that we have to connect it with in order to be able to do it. But if that's what you truly want to do, we'll get you out there. And, we are out there with business and authors and, a tremendous amount of learning information. So definitely it's important to do that. So collaboration is truly the key. And so I think if you're a business person, and I know I'm probably running on here, so we're not doing the conversation part, right? But if you are a business person, you need to ask yourself, what can I do today to be seen, heard, and to be known as the expert in my field? And that's what you need to be working on to be able to do that. The money will come. Your money, the monetary information will, the money will come to you, but you are not going to get it if you're not seen, heard, and being able to get out there as the expert in your field. Now, that brings me to talking about Link to Expert, because I think Link to Expert, we've connected with Link to Expert. I am also on part of Link to Expert. And the reason being is because they're a huge marketing, kind of a marketing platform for you. So I'm going to turn that over to you so that you can share about all the benefits that Link to Expert has.
Well, I also wanted to just say one more thing about the show. If you're on the show, also not just put it on your website, but even you can put it on your email signatures, your profiles on your social media and stuff, because it is a link that we give you. And so I really think that people don't realize how easy it is to then let people know, not just that they were on the show, but that they were that they can actually watch them, because people really do get impressed when you actually have been featured on a show. And I just, in the show notes, Cece, you saw it. Okay, thanks.
And I put mine up here. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and so the reason Link to Expert was created and it is a collaborative cloud community, because I feel like so many of us that are in business, we are really doing our best to get exposure to as many people. I used to be called the networking queen as an example, because I would go to all these different networking meetings, and I would actually, of course, try to get to know as many people. But what I also found is most people that I met never followed up with me. So I wanted to wait a way to follow up, and also to be able to consistently and frequently stay in front of them. So that was one of the reasons in 2007, we created Link to Expert, the collaborative cloud community, because of the fact that people that want to be known as an expert need a way that they can consistently and frequently stay in front of people after they meet them, as well as the other part of it is, how do they get in front of people they haven't met that might also be needing to hire them, whether it's an event professional that wants to hire them to speak at their event, whether it's an executive that wants to bring you in to train their staff, whether it's an entrepreneur that needs coaching. Cece said it earlier, there's a lot of people that, are on listen, and that she knows and we know that are coaches, and they need to let the world know what they can do for them to make their life easier. Because truly, the bottom line is, when people watch you, listen to you, hear you, just like we're talking about on the radio or on Link to Expert, either one, they're really asking themselves, what can you do to make my life easier? So with Link to Expert, we actually give you 40 pages on an interactive marketing platform, which is like a website, and it's all template based on purpose. So when you are on a show like this, just as an example, that you can actually upload it on your calendar, that you're going to be on the show, to ask people to watch it. So you have that on your calendar. Then once you're actually on, you can actually upload it as a free audio, so they can see, that they can hear you if they're like at the gym or driving in their car as the podcast, they can just hear that. as well as if the video part, you can upload it as a free video that shows that you're on the TV. And so those are a couple ways. But then the other thing is, like Cece was mentioning, we also then, you can have it we can transform it into a press release, which is important because a lot of people only believe it if that is gospel truth if they read it off of the Business Wire. But then you can also take your press release and convert it into a blog, because there's many other people, even more people, that will read it if it's a blog because they want to interact with you. So those are just a couple different ways you can do it. You can take snippets of the actual interview with us, for an example, and you can use that in your promo material. Or maybe you even want to use it as a shout out for on our show or somebody else's show of something you said that was only 30 seconds or whatever. So there is so many ways to repurpose, just as an example, this one interview we're talking about. Now multiply that by everything you're doing every day. Just ask yourself, can I record this? Can I write about this? Can I video this? And that is your current types of marketing material to put on your Collaborative Cloud Communities website. And the reason that's so important, face it, none of us have a lot of time. So when we really want to be known as the expert, and we really believe that we are the expert, we will take the time that really is just a little extra time to ask yourself again, can I record this? Can I video this? Or can I write about it? Because you're already doing it. Okay. And then that means you didn't have to exert a lot more effort, but now you have real life marketing material. These are the types of things people want to know about you before they hire you. So that's what Linked Expert was created for, so people can hire you and your business will thrive. But the only way they'll hire you is if they really know what you can do to make their life easier. So these types of interviews with Cece and myself and other, I don't mean it's just us, but always take that and maximize it. Put it on your social media. Like we were saying, there's just so many ways, but we really do our best to make that 1 hour you spent with us, as an example, to actually create so many different kinds of marketing material, because some people like to hear you, some people like to watch you, some people like to read about you. So this is a real easy way to be seen, be heard, and be known worldwide with ease. And one last thing, why did we even create it? It was because we want you to be all you're designed to be. I believe every single one of us has some kind of purpose, some kind of passion, some type of area of expertise that nobody else has. But how are you going to tell the world? Now we have a way that you can do what you love and love what you do and let the world know with ease.
Yeah, I think it's so great. So often, again, just at the very beginning of my career in doing this, I mean, I belong to the Podcasters Association, and they really poo-pooed me for bringing my stuff out. Now this is what they tell everyone to do, is what I have done, right? And so what I'm saying to you is that don't be just a one-way street. Get your information out there on every path, every avenue that's available to you. Get into Link to Experts, into the membership, and talk to Joanne about that, what the cost of that is or whatever needs to be done for that. I mean, she is very flexible, so talk to her about it. And then, get on our station and get your information out there to be known, to be seen, and to be heard, right? And then, there's a bunch of different directories and different things that you can do. So start going on that, because you want to get on that highway of the internet. You want to get out there and be known, be seen, be heard. The best compliment I'm ever given is, "Oh yeah, I see you everywhere." Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that to me, because I know that my job is not done yet, and you're going to see me even more. And so
Right.
Hang on to the seat, because I'm rolling. And that's what you want. All business people, we want that, right? We want to be out and to be seen. So it's very important for us to be not on a one-way street, and that we have, it goes both ways: conversation, collaboration, being able to get yourself exposed, get yourself out there, And so we want to help you do that along the way. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this show. I hope it kind of is up your alley. If you're looking to really expand your business, if you're looking for people to be able to know you and be out there, we want to be able to help you do that. Any last words, Joanne?
Yes, I also wanted you to know that with what we're talking about, there's 3 different ways you can do it. You can do it yourself because it is easy for some people. And then you can also have a marketing assistant to help you. And you can even have with Link to Expert a marketing department that they created for you, that they check your content and they can reimagine it, recreate it, and redistribute it. And so whatever situation you're in, if you like to market yourself, that's fine. If you want just somebody to help you repurpose things, or if you even want a whole group of people that can actually make you look larger than life, it's totally up to you. So, I just didn't want people to think one size fits all, kind of like with Cece, with knowing that she didn't want to just be on one radio show. So we just welcome you, and we really do. It's fun to collaborate, because the other big part about it is we have a unique database exchange program, and that just means you get exposure to every member's people, because different people need to hire you at different times for different projects. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, you're not a one-hit wonder. You're really out there, being able to get out there and get all of your information known out there to people. And it's truly, I mean, it's a blessing. I mean, when I first started, we just didn't have this available to us. And so it is really great to be able to do that. And if you're not a good content maker, right, if you don't have the time for that, it allows you to be able to do what you really are truly born to do. And so you need to just focus on what your gifts are, and then let the other people take over, and they can share your gifts with others. And that's what it's all about. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I hope it helps you when you're thinking about your marketing and you're thinking about doing some things to be able to get yourself out there. If you're looking at being a host on the program, we would love to have you. So all you need to do is just contact either Joanne, which her email is jweiland, WEILAND, @linktoexpert.com. And then I have 2, right? So I have the Going Solo Network @gmail.com. And then, of course, if you guys want to find me on Link to Expert, right here's mine, Cece Shatz at CECESHATZ linktoexpert.com. So you guys can reach me on there. And of course, you can reach Joanne on joanneweiland.linktoexpert.com. So of course, Going Bold Media is where all of our information is, goingboldmedia.com. All of our wonderful hosts and guests are on that. So we are going bold with the experts, and I hope that you will be one of them that will want to join us right here on the Link to Expert Business Showcase. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We got to run for now. We'll see you next time. Bye.